Hello everyone, welcome to 3ddesignacademy.com. In this lesson, we'll continue with part 140 of the Mercedes-Benz E-Class Coupe project. Okay, so in the previous lesson, I worked on this fillet over here. Took quite a bit of time, but I think I'm pretty happy with the result. So let's go ahead and finish this up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete the curves over here, and I do have to fill the space back in. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to untrim. Over here, I'm going to get rid of all these COS. Actually, I'm going to untrim one more time. Delete these COSs over here, and I'm just going to reproject using the edge. Okay, and let's just go ahead and trim. And I do need to check for continuity over here just in case. And looks like it's curvature, which is perfect. Now, it's going to be, even if you don't have curvature on this one, it's going to be easy to match because these surfaces over here are curvature to the same surface, one single surface. So usually in occasions like these, it's going to be a little bit easier to do. All right, now that's done, let's go ahead and I'm actually going to work on this a little bit later. Let's go ahead and do this area over here. So what I'm going to do is, well, first of all, I think I want to delete some of the construction history over here. I'm pretty happy with the results, so I just want to make sure that I keep it. So let's go ahead and do that. So first of all, I'm just going to untrim this one over here because that's a primary surface. And this is also the primary surface. So let's go ahead and untrim. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to realign them into this new edge. So let's go ahead and make this curve visible, and let's go ahead and actually align it. So let's grab these two over here. I'm going to say hide unselected. And let's go ahead and align. So I'm just going to align using position. I'm just going to, well, actually, let's take a look. I'm just going to check the construction of these just to make sure. Well, I guess that's okay. I don't think there's anything that I need to be super aware of. Although I can't quite remember why I made this into degree 3, but whatever. Okay, so let's grab this one, and I'm going to grab this curve over here, and I'm just going to go ahead and align. Okay, so let's start with this edge over here. Just going to grab a line. It's going to be position. I'm going to grab this edge. I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to say partial over here. And position influence is set to max. Okay, so it looks like there's quite a bit of CV shift. I'm not sure if that's ideal. So I'm just going to, well, you know what, let's do this. I'm going to do a comparison. So I'm just going to copy and paste these surfaces over here, and I'm just going to put in a new layer. And while I'm at it, let's just delete all the layers that I don't need. Okay. And I'm just going to do an align again. It's going to be position influence set to max, blending on extra zeros on 1. Now you'll see that that actually changes the shape quite a bit. I'm hoping that doesn't impact, it doesn't have too much impact. Let me just change that to showroom. Hopefully this will be okay. Okay, do the same thing over here. It's going to be position over here, and I'm going to just blending on position influence set to max, extra series of 2, and of course blend factor will be set to 1 because I do need to keep this edge as is. All right, that said, let's just go ahead and check to make sure that this didn't break positional continuity. It didn't, so which is excellent. And let's go ahead and just make sure that everything is looking good. Okay, which I think generally is. So let's go ahead and put some fillets on this. Now, because of the shift over here, there are a couple of things that I need to do. So let's go ahead and get those done. So I think there is a fillet over here, I believe. Yep, it's right there. I believe these two are the same surface. As you can see, if I turn the CV structure on, they're exactly the same, so that's good. I'm going to just delete one of them. And let's go ahead and untrim this one over here. Now, this one over here, I don't really need this. So let's go ahead and first of all trim this out. So I'm just going to say hide unselected over here. And I think I'm just going to trim it like that. Make everything visible. Okay. So that's good, and I'm going to grab this one, and I do need to grab the fillet that was underneath. Let's see if I can, yep, there it is. And let's go ahead and hide and select it. And I'm just going to fillet these back on there. So for these ones, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the existing edge because the surface structure didn't change. Well, the theoreticals didn't change much. Yes, it did shift, but it was just a shifting. Well, basically the distance between here and here are pretty similar, so I think I can just afford to use and recycle. So I'm just going to get rid of this COS over here. And I'm just going to project these edges over here and project this one over here like this. And oh, I do want to project them from view or X like this. I'm just going to trim this one. I'm going to trim this one. And let's go ahead and delete the construction history over here. Delete the COS over here. And I'm just going to realign. Like I said, all the theoreticals are pretty similar, so I can just do this. I'm just going to make sure that it's, partial is on. Okay, so you just want to turn partial off. And let's just check proxy display to see if it didn't change too many things. Position influence, I'm actually going to set it back to 0. Okay, edge over here, edge over here. I think that looks good, pretty good. Although, I don't know why it's shifted a little bit, so let's just, you know what, let's do this. I'm just going to leave it as is. However, I'm going to do a little bit of rebuild just because of the CV structure shift. So, let's just zoom back in on this, and let's go ahead, and I'm just going to do a square. Okay, it's going to be square, so 1 and 3 is going to be curvature, and collinear option off, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just do a rebuild, just for the CV structure cleanup. Oh, why does it look like that? I'm starting to think that the original might be a little bit better. You know what, it is, so let's leave it like that. And now, let's just take a look to make sure that the CV structure, I don't know why there's a little wiggle. I'm pretty sure that's due to a line. So let's just go ahead and delete the construction history first. And I'm just going to do a planarized hull like this. I think view based is probably ideal. And I'm just going to realign it. Now it is still curvature, but you just want to make sure that it is really, really curvature. So I'm just going to do that. Let's go ahead and delete the construction history over here. Now, as far as this surface goes, I'm pretty sure I extended it. That's why it's a little bit long, but that's okay. I'm just going to extend it back like this. Probably do the same thing over here. And let's just go ahead and use align. So it's going to G2 over here, position influence set to max. Well, I'm pretty sure I think I can. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, I'm just going to make sure that the outer edges are set to edge instead of skew. I think the CV structure looks pretty good. So I think I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay, so that's good. So I'm just going to delete the construction history over here. Now that was pretty easy. Now comes the difficult part because I do have to basically redo these fillets over here. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so starting. Oh wow, that's CV structure is not exactly great, so I think I'm going to have to do a little bit of adjustment on that. But before I do though, let's go ahead and do these. Now, I'm pretty sure these were rebuilt. I'm seeing that it's actually freeform blend. Okay, well, if that's the case. Let's see. I wonder what kind of curve I used. Let's take a look. I'm going to see if there's a curve that I used on these, but I don't think I see them. Okay, so if that's the case, well, unfortunately, that means I probably have to just reproject. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to do a degree 2 over here. And I'm just going to extend it a little bit over here like this. And I'm going to extend it over here like this on this side. And now, let's see, I'm just going to use a stretch tool over here. Just going to grab these over here. And I'm just going to project like that. Hopefully that'll work. If not, I'll have to do some adjustments. Okay, I'm just going to extend that. I'm going to trim over here, and trim over here. Like that, over here, like as such. Now, there is a chance that I might have to shift these around a little bit, but let's try this one first. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to align this one. G2. I'm going to align this one over here. Looks like there's a little shift, but since well, I wonder if this was just roughly done. Because that's not exactly ideal, so I might have to redo the whole thing. Let's take a look. Yeah, that's crap. Okay, so I don't know why I made it like that, but well, let's just delete it. Oh, I need that, so let's just leave that over here. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to use these as references. So I'm just let me just delete the construction history and put that back over here. And let's go ahead and redo this one over here. So I'm just going to untrim like that. Unfortunately, that's pretty crappy surfacing. So let's go ahead and fix those. So let me just delete the COSs over here. And what I'm going to do is, well, I don't know why this one has history. Freeform land, well, that's fine. Just going to delete the construction history over here. And what I'm going to do is, let's go ahead and untrim this piece over here. And I'm going to untrim this piece over here so that I can just get to the theoreticals. And basically that is going to be a guideline for me to snap to. All right. So let's go ahead and get this a little bit better. So I'm just going to, well, let's take a look. So since I already have this bottom one, I'm just going to be using that. Fit curve should work, and I'm just going to extend it over here, and I'm just going to snap it like that, which actually looks like it's perfectly on there. So let me just snap it to make sure that it actually is. And for this one, let's go ahead and I'm going to just untrim this piece. And let's do a fit curve over here like this. And I'm just going to delete the construction history over here. Snap it here. And let's go ahead and snap it over here like this. Okay. Oh, okay. So I probably just did a straight cut like that. So I think that's okay, which is fine. But I think, as you can see, the tangent line over here when I project it is going to be a little bit off. You see that there's a lot more room over here compared to this one. So what I probably want to do is I probably want to just shift it up just a little bit so that I can somewhat similar real estate. So let's go ahead and take a look. Now, I don't think I want to just do a surface fillet, although I can try. Well, actually, let's give that a go. So I'm just going to save first so that even if a surface fillet goes haywire and crashes my system, I can always go back. So what I can do is I can just put a fillet over here. Probably needs to be, oh, as you can see over here, that's not exactly ideal. I think it's going way over the top. So like I said, I probably have to just manually build it. Okay, so again, let's just go back to the front and let's do a project. I'm just going to project over here. I'm going to grab these, project over here. Okay, so I think the real estate is starting to become a little bit similar. I'll probably want to shift it just a little bit up like this. And I probably want to shift this a little bit more over here, just because of the real estate difference between the two. Okay, so I think that's starting to become a little bit more similar. Although this one, well, here's the dilemma. If I were to just make it short, I don't think that's going to quite do it. The problem is I have this large fillet over here. Well, maybe I can just do it the other way. Well, let's give it a try. If it doesn't work, I'll just do a little bit more proper way, which I think should work a little bit better. Okay, anyways, let's give this a go and see how it looks. So I'm just going to trim all these surfaces over here. And let's just go ahead and grab freeform blend. I'm going to pick those edges, and I'm going to pick the one at the bottom. Just looking at the CV structure, it's still, unfortunately, still does that. Okay, so if that's the case, I'm going to just try edge align. And as you can see, it's not exactly giving me the result that I want. So I'm going to see if I can. I'm going to see if that's not good. Okay, you know what? Let's give this a try. So I'm just going to snap a curve here, and I'm going to snap a curve over here, and I'm going to see how the blend curve does in this situation. So I'm just going to project here, and I'm going to project here like this. And while the theoretical is it probably does want to go this way instead of going this way. But let's give blend curve a go and just confirm the shape. And I'm just going to make sure that it's pointing downwards like that. And I'm going to make sure that this one is. Okay, so that's actually quite biased. So I don't think it's just a matter of, well, because technically these surfaces are not intersecting over here straight on. They are actually, it needs to cycle like this, which is causing a bit of a problem. So I think I probably have to just follow the edge. The only problem is if I were to do that, I would have to, well, do this, and it's not exactly giving me the highlight that I want. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to have to rebuild this one a little bit properly this time. So let's do this. First of all, I think I'm going to let's do this. I'm just going to, well, I'm going to keep this one over here. And I probably have to rebuild this one. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Like this. It's curvature over here. Well, not exactly, but it still looks a little bit better than before. And I'm just going to do a little CV shift over here like this, so that the CV structure is a little bit more straight. I think that should help. And I'm just going to delete it. It failed curvature. I think it's probably because I delete the basically it's got one less spans. So let me just make sure that it's curvature over here. I'm going to say partial, and I'm going to just make sure that it's curvature over here, which is good. Okay, so now with these CV structures, I'm going to create a blend curve over here. So let's go ahead and delete these COSs over here, and I'm just going to set a blend curve over here. And I'm going to have a blend curve over here. Now, the only issue is that you'll see that this one is breaking like this. So it's going to be quite difficult to get a curvature on this side. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. I'm just going to extend like that. And let's take a look at the intersection. This actually might be a little bit easier. Let's take a look. I'm just going to make sure that the CV structure, that's actually pretty close. I think it actually needs to be a little bit wider. So here's what I can do. So I'm just going to set this to align, and I'm just going to change that to, well, not degree 5 over here. I'm just going to change this to degree 2. So basically it's an extension with history on it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this one, and let's use auto scale G2 or not. I'm just going to shift it. I'm going to just shift it a little bit outward this way, so that I can adjust this one. And you'll see that this is actually failing. That's because position influence is not set to max. So you just want to do that, and you just want to pull this out a little bit over here and over here like this, and you'll see that this becoming a little bit better. Now, another thing you can do is you can always make the tangent lines a little bit wider. Well, maybe that's what I should do. mean, no, I think this is okay. I mean, so CV structure looks pretty decent. Okay, so now that's done. I just gotta make sure that it is actually curvature continuous, which it isn't currently. So let's go ahead and grab a line, and I'm going to change this to, well, first of all, delete the construction history over here, and let's just redo the, let's see. I'm just going to delete those COSs. I'm going to intersect, and let's go ahead and align this one. Oh, and you do want to change this back to either degree 3 or higher because it actually has to fit. So let's go ahead and give that a try. So it's curvature now, but you'll see that the CV structure shifted a little bit, which probably isn't good. So I'm just going to say vector, and I'm just going to say normal like this. And let's do the same thing over here. And I'm going to say partial over here. Now, it is curvature on both sides, but that probably broke the curvature continuity over here, which it did. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this a degree 5. Let's make it a degree 5 like this. And I'm just going to do the same thing over here. Well, yeah, it's already done that. And now let's see if I can get it to be curvature over here. So I'm just going to turn the curvature continuity on because it has to retain it. And now, let's just make sure that this is curvature. That's, okay, so right now it's set to edge. That's not good. So I'm just going to set it to vector. It's failing position. It's curvature over here because it's just one surface, but this one, you gotta realize that this is actually a fillet. And this is actually the primary surface, but this, because this is a primary surface, technically this should align to this, but of course there's a size difference between the two. So, well, actually, you know what? Let's, I can give that a go. So let's do a revert. And let's see how this does. So I'm just going to have a curvature over here, or turn it on. And let's just go ahead and delete the construction history here. And let's align this one to here like that. And looks like that fails. So I'm just going to say vector. That still fails. 0.3, 0.5. Well, let's try this one again. Well, okay, so it looks like that's a little bit less. Vector. Well, gets a little bit closer. All right, so I'm going to try and at least get tangency over here. Let's see if that works. Okay, so I got tangency. It's failing tangency a little bit on this side, but it's not horrible. Okay, so let's go ahead and delete the construction history over here. Now, getting the tangency over here, it's really easy. It's only off by 0.1, so I'm just going to say, yep, there it is. And I'm going to just check the locator over here. Pick the locator, delete it, and let's see how much it's actually off. Oh, that's actually curvature. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can get this to work. So it's just at one spot, so I'm going to just take this row, position, tangent, curvature. Actually, let's turn this off. I'm going to grab this CV and I'm going to just pull it in UV. Maybe I'll be able to actually get it. Oh, what do you know? That wasn't too bad. Okay, so there it is. Much cleaner. Highlights flowing pretty nicely. CV structure is pretty good. I would say that's a pass. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do this one. This is going to be a little bit difficult. I'm just going to make sure that this works. So I'm just going to do an insert. I'm going to snap it over here like this. And I'm going to grab insert again. And I'm going to snap it over here like this. And basically this is going to the base curve to align everything else. So I'm just going to use this and let's go ahead and align. It's going to be curvature. Let's just turn that off. I'm going to align it over here. I'm going to align it over here. And because I'm using insert and duplicate, basically the CV structure over here is going to be pretty similar. Although there's a little discrepancy, it's going to be a little bit better than if you were to just freeform it from the beginning. Okay, I'm just going to align here, make sure that's dragged over here like this, and I'm going to do the same thing over here like that. Okay, so now let's go ahead and just to shift the CVs around a little bit. Now, because there's a lot of curvature on these, it might be a little bit more difficult, especially for the bottom surface, to get good alignment. Well, let's give that a go. So I'm just going to do it over here like that. Actually, you know what? I think shifting it back out might be a little bit better, just because you will see the spacing between. So if it was this exact CV location, it wouldn't matter. But as you can see, it's a little bit more inboard. So I'm guessing that naturally these should also be a little bit outward as well. It's not exact science. I wish it was, but well, let's go ahead and now just align these over here. Just make a square. I know I set it to curvature, but I probably need to turn curvature continuity off, because as you can see, it's doing that because this is such a small piece. That's a problem. So now what I'm going to do is, well, first of all, boundary blend should be set to set like that. One can be curvature, and I probably need to turn on collinear options on. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shift the CVs around to make this a little bit better. So right now, while this is made using for freeform blend, I think that might be why. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to use the boundary blend to make sure the CV structure is a little bit better. I think that's good. Yeah, just making like that should be good. I might shift these down a little bit, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to align this one to the surface, and this little sliver, I'm probably going to do a freeform blend between these two. So let's give that a try. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to try align project. It's going to be G2. I'm just going to do a project over here. And let's see if I can get curvature, which I did. That's good. I'm going to say view. And let's go ahead and do the same thing over here. So I'm going to grab this surface, and I'm going to just align it over here. Okay, so it looks like it's got a little bit of gap. So I'm going to say normal. 0.018 view 0.012. Okay, so if that's the case, I'm just going to revert. And I'm going to try to get this a little bit better. So first of all, I'm actually going to delete this one. I think the bottom edge is fine. But of course, the top one is not fitting as well. So let's try to get that lined up. So I'm just going to project over here. Like this. And I'll probably project normal. And what you can do is you can use a curve to curve distance. I'm just going to get a distance between the two, and I think the CV location probably needs to shift it a little bit. So let's isolate these because it's kind of hard to see. Okay, so what you're trying to do is get this distance to be a little bit smaller than what it is right now. And I'm going to just have the CV structure on. And let's just shift these around a little bit until, that's okay. I'm just going to shift this a little bit over here. And let's just drag this one a little bit this way. Wow, okay. And I'm going to drag this one a little bit here like this. I'm actually kind of surprised by this. Looks like shifting a little bit outward works, even though the CV structure is a little bit off. But you probably, distance is what matters. So you just want to make sure to get this corrected. Okay, so right now, 0.01, which is actually pretty close to a tolerance that I'm using. So if it's under 0.1, or not 0.1, 0.01, that's positional for me. So I would say that's pretty good. I'm going to start over here. Let's see if I'm shifting this one. Okay, so I would say that's probably the limit. So now I'm just going to recreate the square using those numbers. So it's going to be 1 over here. It's going to be 2 using the curve. It's I'm going to do 3 using that edge, and 4 using this curve down here. Okay, so I would say that's good, and I know that's a little wavy, but that's just to align it over here. Okay, 1 is curvature. I would say these settings look pretty good, and now let's give that a go. So first of all, let's just turn the CV structures off on all of these. I'm going to start with the bottom edge. So let me just delete the COS like that. And I'm just going to project a line over here. That's curvature. And I'm going to look at this one. And I'm going to project a line, and it's curvature. That's perfect. Right, this should, okay, so it looks like there's a little bit of curvature deviation, but it's not horrible. What I'm worried about is this one. I'm actually going to delete this one because obviously it's not going to work. And yeah, it's failing tangency. It's failing tangency there. Okay, so I'm just going to delete that, and let's do this. First of all, let's trim this one. Actually, you know what? Let's get all these canvases away. Oh, looks like there's actually multiple COSs, so I'm going to delete the first one. And I'm going to do a freeform blend between the two, like this. Now, this is going to be curvature, despite the weird CV structure, and it most likely will have a weird highlight, because, well, as you can see right here, and I'm pretty sure the highlights, there's going to be a little bump over here, as you can see, a little flick. So now what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to, well, let's actually isolate it. I'm going to pick these ones, this one, this one. I'm going to say hide unselected. And let's just look at it from the front. Now, instead of doing this, here's, because of the CV structure difference, let's do this. I'm going to just do a skim between the two, and I'm going to just make it 5 degrees, and I'm going to align. So I'm going to align over here. It's going to be G2. I'm going to say edge. Really? Oh, whatever. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. And you see the CV structure difference between the two. So what I'm going to do now is try to make that the same, or flowing, at least flowing nicely. Okay, so I'm just going to do that, and let's just go ahead and shift these a little bit. So you can do either. Well, let's just use this one. So I'm just going to delete this one. Let's delete the construction history like this. And I'm just going to grab this CV over here. And, well, maybe I should just leave it. Okay, so I'm just going to align again. It's not going to be edge. I'm going to say vector, and I'm just going to say normal like this. And now what I'm going to do is just shift the CVs around a little bit. So I'm just going to grab slide, and I'm going to grab this edge, this arrow instead of this one, because this is where it's based on. And you just want to slide it along. Maybe 5,000 is a little bit too much. I'm just going to slide that until I get a nice alignment like that. I'm going to now grab the curvature row, and I'm just going to be doing the same thing. I think that's good. And still retains curvature there, which is good. Okay, now let's do the same thing for the bottom. Let's go ahead and align. I'm going to say blending. I'm going to say edge, but the vector option will return the on. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to grab slide. I'm just going to grab this arrow. Just shift it up a little bit. Grab this one. And shift it up a little bit also. And now you see that the structure is good. Looks pretty clean. Now let's just check the highlight. Okay, so that's the first thing. Highlight's good. Now it's good. And the second thing I need to do is I just got to make sure that it is actually curvature. So this side is curvature. For some reason, it's not curvature over here. So let's just delete the construction history over here and see if I can just align it. I think it's just probably just a little bit calculation thing. So I'm going to say skew. I don't know why it works, but it does. So, okay, delete the construction history over here. And let's just check the continuity over here. It's curvature there, it's curvature there, and that's perfect. So it's got a curvature here, curvature here, curvature here, curvature. Oh, that's right. It's not curvature over here. So let's get this aligned. Okay, so I'm just going to try with G2 curvature align. I'm pretty sure it's going to break something over here, which it does. So I'm going to say vector, say normal. Of course, that doesn't do it. If that's okay, so let me just revert it back. So I think this just needs a little bit of handwork. So I'm just going to delete the construction history, that make sure it doesn't do anything. And I'm going to grab this CV over here and let's just do a little bit of NUV. Tangency, that's not good. Okay, let's grab this one. That's not good either. All right, let's see if I can at least get tangency over here. Wow, that breaks it. Okay, if that's the case, I'm going to see if I can adjust this one. Now, theoretically, yes, you should adjust this one, but let's see if I can get this one to work. I'm going to just grab both. And hopefully that doesn't break curvature on the other side. There it is. Okay, so I got tangency, but the problem is I still don't have curvature. So let's see if I can get one. So I'm just going to grab these both. Although I feel like this is actually breaking curvature over here. I don't know if it's really worth it. $5.7. I don't know why curvature continuity would just shift around like that. Okay, you know what? As much as I think this is actually a legit curvature continuity breakage, just because of the progress and shift over this one, I might not do anything about it because, well, first of all, I got curvature on the other sides and it's starting to break curvature over here. So unfortunately, this one, I'm going to just leave as is. I mean, highlight looks fantastic. So there's no point. Yeah, I think it looks fine. So I think I'm just going to leave that as is. All right, so that's been cleaned up and I'm pretty happy with the progress. Nice. I think the highlight is flowing nicely. A little bit S-shape, but that's just due to how the, well, essentially how the surfaces are. So that's, well, considering that it's flowing nicely. So I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Okay. All right, so that is it for part 140. We will pick this up in the next tutorial. And thank you guys for watching. Want to learn more? Then become a member at 3ddesignacademy.com, where you will find hundreds of video tutorials ranging from basics, including car creations, intermediate level tutorials such as this wheel, all the way to Class A modeling of the interior car exterior. Interested? Visit 3ddesignacademy.com.